Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the Daily Truth. The truth in 5 minutes or less. It is a early evening edition. Obviously, the time changes happen, so it's about to get dark outside. It's approximately 5:38 p.m. Central Time. I don't know why I'm giving the time, but I want to prove that we're live right now. Go ahead and put in the comments where you're watching from. Please like this video, share this video, do all the things with this video. I've got a message for today and tomorrow. I didn't know what order I was going to go in. I guess tomorrow is election day, so I figured I would get this one off my chest right away. I figure we have one more day, and I encourage everybody to go vote. I do know that most of my audience does lean one direction, so hopefully, if you're considering going out and voting, please go vote. This is an issue. This is a conversation about civility that we have lost drastically in this country. And I'm not going to lie, in the last several months, I have seen the worst in people that I could possibly imagine, which is why when people talk about red pill, blue pill, I have a massive black pill in my heart. And I just feel I question where we are going to be as a country on Wednesday, for better or for worse. And often when people say I've seen the worst in people, I've also seen the best in people. I can't say the same. Have I seen glimpses of good? Absolutely. Is it minimal? Absolutely. Is both sides guilty of the ugliness? Absolutely. With that said, when I try to be diplomatic and say both sides are at fault, I have to be honest of what I've seen from predominantly the opposite side. I have gone in posts and I've seen people from the right say some cruel things, and often I will jump in and sometimes say, "Hey, not what we do here." But at the same token, the vitriol, the hate, the slander, the disgustingness of the left is something that I never thought that I would see out of what used to be my party. I used to be a Democrat. I was a Democrat all the way up until about 2013 when I started to see just the utter and complete chaos from the leftist media, from human beings that were yelling at the top of their lungs about items that just mathematically and statistically were not the problems I thought they were. So I just was incensed that there's friends and people that I know from my past that say things, and there's a perfect example, and this is why I even kind of waited to talk about this because I wanted to see the response. But somebody went off on I'll give the basics, and again, this is just a anecdote of what I have seen in the discussing this from one side. Look, Donald Trump is a flawed individual. He is far from perfect. And anybody that thinks that I'm in a cult because I'm voting for him, I don't know what else to tell you besides both sides are both flawed human beings, big time. But it's interesting. One person specifically went off. There was a post just labeling all people just as idiots that vote for Donald Trump and cultists and disgusting and all these horrible things to say. And my mom made the mistake of commenting on this post. I no longer am Facebook friends with this person because I just couldn't take the level of disgust that I got from them a couple of years ago. And I just had to separate myself. So, with that said, the slander, the disgustingness, the hate that got put towards her, and just instead of just being like, well, I like Kamala Harris because, or Trump I disagree with because, it was more of a you're an idiot, you're a moron, you're terrible, you're a shitty human being, you're a Nazi. Ironic because she's Jewish. But all these different things that I had to hear, and how horrific the verbiage was, that I just was like, wow. So I called out this behavior, and the response was something that I think is perfect to explain. So when I guess this person's mother, and I called it out in a direct message because I'm not following. I didn't even see the post. I just saw screenshots and what other people told me. So they said that their mother, after hearing the way that Trump speaks and does and says things, said that their mother, who I believe is a Republican, could not vote for that man because she would not want her sons saying the same thing and doing the same things. That same person, and again, I'm using an anecdote, but I think it speaks to the whole of what I've seen and what I have observed, is this person was talking about how their mother would feel about that individual if their son were to say the same things. Meanwhile, said son is saying the same things, not about the media, not about politicians, but about people he knows, people that he has known from his past, actual people that you could reach out and touch, whether in social media or in real life, not people that are elected officials that you can rant about and their policies and how it hurts people, but actually hurting the individual. And I wanted to put the onus back on this person and say, do you think your mother would be proud of how you spoke to other human beings? Whether or not she doesn't want to vote for Trump, that's one thing. And if you don't want to vote for Trump, that's completely fine. I get it. But to be the individual that speaks from a high horse about the ability to be decent and kind, and they don't want to vote for somebody that's not decent and kind, while not looking in the mirror at the way they communicate with other human beings that just differ in belief system. And look, I called him a piece of shit in my message directly to him. But I want to be very clear. I stand by me calling that individual and people like that a piece of shit, not because of who they're voting for or their political beliefs. But when you treat other individuals that horrifically, shame them, call them Nazis, speak as though they are beneath you, you are a piece of shit. And I think that that's the ultimate belief that's got me to this point where it's like, please, and I will be honest with you. What are we at? About 24 hours away from some of the polls closing in this country. I don't know who's going to win. I really don't. I think it's a complete coin flip at this point. But the evil that I have seen coming from the left and the rhetoric bothers me. It disgusts me. I don't know where I'll be on Wednesday in terms of if I'll keep continuing to speak on politics because it's given such a bad taste in my mouth. And I've said on many occasions that the reason that I do it is because I truly enjoy it. I love the debate. I love the discourse. I love the ability to learn new things as well as influence people on a specific opinion and also provide the best facts that I can and also understand that I don't know it all, which there's been times I've admitted as so. I'm also willing to admit how flawed my candidate is. But at the end of this, there is that whole thing of like, well, I can handle the vitriol. That's why I've stuck doing it for so long. I can handle the hate. I can take the swords and I can, but it's given me such a distaste towards humanity in this country. And yes, I will be, instead of playing both sides on this one, it has given me an utter and complete disgust for the individuals on the left, not liberals, not just Democrats, but those on the far left that speak such hate while saying they're voting against hate. The irony is sickening to me. That's my truth. And, I was watching a church service this last weekend that talked a lot about if politics has gotten to a point where it divides you from your neighbor, be kind, follow God, be kind to your neighbor. The top two commandments is what they talked about. If I'm getting to a point where I can no longer easily be kind to my neighbor and I literally want to just, it's time to potentially move on. I'll talk more about that tomorrow. We're going to be doing a live stream all night and we'll see where things go. And I hope and pray that and the reason why, part of the reason I vote for Trump and Vance is I really like Vance also, is I can't imagine those that are speaking so poorly of half the country, such disgust, such just hate, such just blind hate. I can't imagine when they and their party runs the country. If we think we are divided now, it will get worse. People say it can't get worse. It will get worse. So my message is, if any bit of you is not considering voting tomorrow and you haven't already, get out and vote. Your vote matters no matter where you are in the country. Trust me, because it has to be a popular vote win in order for our country to calm down. And whatever happens, I believe God's got this. But at the same token, God does have periods of time that are very low so that we can rebuild. And I just hope we're not at that time. Like this video, share this video. God bless. Yeah, I mean, Casey, it's both sides. I get it. But I have to be honest on this one. The left is a much different kind of hate. It's a much escalated kind of hate. God bless, guys. Don't surrender your pets. Don't be a garbage human being. I appreciate you. I love you. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow.